Hello everybody and welcome to the Game House. I'm Rob and today I'm going to be taking you through my 3 TFT Set 14 comps that you need to be trying on the PBE. But before we dive in, I'm going to ask that you guys like and subscribe as we're continuing to try to grow this channel, and we would love to have a bunch of new TFT followers. I love this game. I am right on the edge of Diamond, just so you know, for this past season. Struggling a little bit in Emerald for some weird reason this season, but you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. But you know, generally I'm depending on how many games I actually play, I'm, you know, at least plat, but generally working my way into diamond range as well. So I hope that you guys will enjoy this with me. I was fortunate enough to be able to play test this game, or this new set specifically, you know, thanks to Riot for giving me that opportunity. And this is a really fun set that I'm looking forward to kind of going over with you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys will like, I hope you guys will subscribe. I hope you'll become a part of a new, you know, portion of TFT fans that we have here at the Game House. But I'm going to be reading you guys. You guys can go, you know, check out this article over at the Game House that I wrote, where I kind of just go through, you know, quickly my thoughts on, you know, these different comps. I'm going to kind of dive in, excuse me, a little bit more into my experiences with these comps. And hopefully you guys will find this to be helpful as you are looking at, you know, different comps to try the PBE. I will say, I'm not going to tell you that these comps are going to be OP. We have no idea because, to be honest with you, the playtest server, we're mostly looking for bugs. We're looking for balancing changes, things that just don't feel right maybe. And there were plenty of things. Don't worry, there always are. But the big thing is they almost always make changes before this goes live. And it should be live, by the way, today when this is coming out. So hopefully you guys are going to be able to try this. And throughout the PBE over the next 2 weeks, the meta will start to form. If you know anything about playing on the PBE, it's very easy to, I don't know, how would I put this? It's very easy to maybe get locked in on something super strong. It may be strong for one day, but, you know, generally they are really on the grind of balancing the game, you know, generally about a week to 10, you know, it takes them about a week to 10 days to really kind of find that balance. So these are more just comps. All this is to say, these are comps that I think were fun, and that they were interesting, and that they're worth trying, and ones that, you know, I was able to finish top 4 with, especially if I had played it, excuse me, played it, you know, a little bit better, to be honest with you. But, you know, I'm up there playing with some of the best, and I am not one of those top tier people. So for all of you normies out there, and all you maybe more casual players as well, hopefully this will be something fun. So let's jump into it. We've got our first comp here. I'm just calling it Nitro Bastion. So, you know, if you don't know, Nitro is a pretty interesting comp. It's kind of our summon comp, not kind of, it is our summon comp for this set. And it's very similar to Black Rose in the sense that you put out, you know, I think it's, you only need 3 initially. But there are 4 Nitro units. You get them out there and it gives you a robot. Yeah, you can see it down here with the funny spelling that they did. And it does damage. I believe it has like a little stun that it does, like a little AoE, you know, shoots off 3 little rocket packs or something like that that blow up and stun the enemy for a little bit. And then once you get to 4 Nitro, it does like a beam of light, or, you know, a laser beam sort of thing for damage as well. And then once you get to 200 chrome, you are able to evolve that into the T43X. You know, I guess they're replacing the Rex part with a 4 this time. So, you know, we've had T-Hex and stuff in the past. This is very similar to that. But this thing can do a ton of damage, especially if you are able to get Nitro early on. And that's kind of the big part of this is, you may be sitting here looking and being like, well, where's the Nitro, you know, robot? Where's the T43X? I could not find the thing on this tactics tools to place it there, but generally speaking, you're going to want to put it between your bastions. And the reason why I picked bastions for this is because it's very easy to go Exotech as well with this, and also that Shyvana is a Bastion. It just kind of, you know, fits well together, to be honest with you. Exotech gives you a specific item that you can use only on the Exotech units. So you have Sejuani, Jax, and Jhin here. Again, because Sejuani and Jax are 2 Bastions, the Bastion kind of works the same, where you're getting a set number of armor and magic resist. This allows you to have a front line. You should always have a front line with any comp that you are making. Then the items that you're going to end up getting are going to be put on Elise, for Renekton as well, basically, and then you'll want some sort of defensive items on Sejuani, because your T4 3X is going to be doing a ton of damage, and the Elise will be helping as well from the back, but I'll get into that in a second. For Renekton, you may be wondering, why is Shyvana behind, you know, Renekton? It's because with the Renekton ability, he eats like 40% or something like that of the health, and I think maybe even attack damage. I can't remember. I know the health for sure of the unit that's placed behind it. So with Shyvana, you're going to want to, I guess this is something I should have said at the beginning, you're going to want to 3-star every, you know, all 4 Nitro units, because you get more chrome with each unit. The other thing you're going to want to remember is, if you want to do it quicker, it gives it to your robot, the chrome, that is, every single, you know, time a round starts, but you can go running around if you want to, and, you know, grab up that chrome beforehand if you just want to run around for fun. But either way, you get more of that chrome, you know, with the higher star levels of the higher star levels of all 4 of your nitros. So you want to make sure that you get those to level 4 as quickly as possible. And you need a carry with this comp. Elise is, I think, fine. She does plenty of damage, honestly, a lot more than I thought she was going to do. And she's also going to be the reason why I went with Hextech Gunblade. You could go with another, you know, stronger item, but, you know, the whole goal is that you want to keep your T-Rex up, and you want to keep your front line up as much as you possibly can while still dealing all that damage, because Renekton is going to do plenty of damage. It is as bruisery of a 5 cost as I've seen in quite a long time, to be honest with you. So you got plenty of damage. That's why you kind of go with this weird bruisery build. You want to focus on health. You get the Warmogs. You have the extra health from Shyvana, who's going to be 3-star. Like I said, you're getting that 40% health as well. Then you've got the healing coming in from the Bloodthirster. Renekton naturally gets some as well, but you get that shield with Bloodthirster, which is great, and you get the Sterix Gauge. This just kind of makes him a raid boss, while Elise is back there, you know, dealing a ton of damage and helping you to, you know, stay alive as well. And then you have the Sejuani, who a lot of her stuff is based off of pure magic resist and pure armor. That's why I went with these 3 items, right, with Stoneplate, with Dragon's Claw, and with Bramble Vest. I think that that's great. I did add this, you know, gosh, I can't remember what the name of this item is for some reason right now. Don't crush me in the comments for it, but either way, you know, that's there to get the little bit of shred for Elise if you want to. Nidalee can do a little bit of damage, but nothing too crazy. You are also, depending on the Exotech item that you get, able to put some time and some you know, items into Jhin, especially if you get some, you know, other items. But the big ones you want are for Elise and for Renekton. And like I said, you want to place your T-Rex in the middle, somewhere in between Sejuani and Renekton, or Sejuani and Nidalee. I will say, you know, the laser beam does go through units, so depending on how late you are into the game and you kind of notice where the positioning is for everybody, you'll want to position your T-Rex into that, into those units. So that's really about it for this comp. It's a fun little comp. You probably will see a lot of people trying Nitro at the beginning. As soon as I felt like I was starting to get a handle on it, a lot of other people started playing it. And there are other variations of Nitro, but I just found this one to be pretty safe with the Bastions, and it allowed you to have, I think, a more consistent carry in Renekton. There are versions of this, like I said, where you can, you know, kind of go more into the Jhin and Kindred Marksman where you're getting more of that damage. Kindred can certainly dish out some serious damage, so can Jhin. At least they could on the playtest, but we'll have to see what the balance is like on the PBE. But this is a fun comp. I really liked Nitro. I thought that they were really good, and I think it's easy for people to pick up. Now, the second comp. Here we go. So, the second comp here is Syndicate Shaco. This was by far my favorite comp that I ran. I tried different variations of it, but Syndicate is an all-new, well, obviously an all-new, trait that they added to the game, where as long as you have 3 of them, you get this little, kingpin hat. I think they talked about it in the reveal video, but you put it on Shaco, and Shaco can jump behind units. These are the best items for Shaco, because Shaco is similar to Tristana from set 13, where every kill that Shaco gets, he gets increased attack damage, right? Percent attack damage. What's crazy about him, though, is that it doesn't have to be during his ability, although, his ability does help him to do plenty of damage, but this unit was super incredibly strong, very easy to get you through the early and mid game. Fell off a little bit in the late game, and I think that's more just for me. I just don't think I was playing it right. I may even have a video in the background of this going off. I don't know. I think I'm going to stick to just kind of talking through it right now, but if you guys want to see that, let me know. I do have a video of it. I'm probably going to play Shaco, to be honest with you, like this specific comp. Because I do think that it's such a fun and interesting champion. The Slayer giving it that extra attack damage, that extra Omni Vamp is absolutely huge. You have the Edge of Night, which, in case the one problem with Shaco was that he'd get into the back line, he'd kill a unit, and then he'd get kind of stuck there, and as soon as they would get through one of the frontline units, they would quickly focus on Shaco. So I think Edge of Night is actually a very important item on this champion. I think you need the Bloodthirster, obviously, as well, to be able to heal through all that damage that you've just kind of disappeared from, right? And then, obviously, an IE helps so much with damage. But you can get this champion stacking. If you can get, like, a level 2 Shaco even before you get to, like, the first player rounds, right? That's massive. The one difference with Shaco between Tristana, at least this was the case, we'll see if it stays this way on the PBE, but he could not stack with like Krugs or any of the minions or any of the PvE portion of the game. It was only on champions, so you will have to keep that in mind. But with this, again, I decided to go with the 6 Slayer because you could go 5 Syndicate and put the other Kingpin hat on like Misfortune or Braum, potentially even Twisted Fate if you really wanted to, but I just ended up finding that it was better to go Slayer. You're getting that extra damage. Again, you're getting that Omni Vamp, and I just think that these units are pretty good, and some of them you're going to play around already, right? And so I guess I'll just go through these. Vayne is a very good early game champion. I think that Vayne may even be able to be a second carry very easily in this game. She has true damage again, of course. You stack her with a Ginsu's and some other stuff, and I think she can be pretty good, but she's not like, she wasn't crazy good. I think she fits better in the Anima Squad comps than she does in this one. You also have Senna, who honestly does a pretty decent chunk of damage. Again, I played this comp probably the most. This was the one I at least tested out. I was trying things. I didn't really hone in on how best to play it on the PBE because, again, it started getting sniped for me. Similar to Nitro, these are like the 2 reroll comps, by the way. This is one that you want to get Shaco 2 as quickly as possible, and then you want to get Shaco 3, before you get past level 7, maybe. I don't know. I would definitely say that, or before you hit level 7, I should say, because it just makes Shaco way better. But Senna can do damage as well. I think in, Divinicorp, comps, that I think she can be pretty good, but I don't know if she'll ever really be, unless if they intentionally make her carry, I don't know if she will be one. You have Jarvan, who's interesting. I ended up adding a Titan's Resolve on him just because I think that item goes really well with him, actually. And I think it can make him very tanky while also doing a lot more damage than you think, along with the fact that he's going to be able to I don't know, he gets this shield that's really good. He, you know, attacks all the different champions like in a crest, I think is what it is, in front of him. So very good for him. And if you can get that item, you know, late in game or something like that, I think it can make him very useful. You have Mundo. Mundo's kind of similar actually to set 13, just not as strong, to be honest with you. Last one you have is Zed here, and then I'll talk about Misfortune in a second, but and Braum. But Zed is very strong. But I think the problem that I have is that if you're stacking Shaco already, Shaco I think can, you know, outdamage, especially if you get Shaco to level 3. You know, getting Zed to 2 isn't a bad idea. You can put items on Zed. I don't think that's a terrible thing. Obviously, I think Zed can be, again, very, very, very strong. But if you're already stacking the Shaco, if you're building for this, you know, 6 Slayer, 3 Syndicate build, Shaco's the one that I think you're going to prefer to do your items on. Lastly here, we'll talk about the 2 other Syndicates. Braum's just a big beefy boy, as he normally is. I do think this third item here that I cannot remember for some reason because I just barely ever play it, but I do actually think it's pretty good for him. You want him to be getting his shield up as much as possible. He gets a chill once he uses his ability. I would highly suggest taking a look at that. And then for Misfortune, there's a lot of different builds that you could go with her. I decided to go with the having her ult as much as possible and having her try to rip through the front line, because the one problem that you're going to have with this comp is while you're going to be able to get to the backline carries relatively quickly with Shaco, if Shaco does get taken down, it's going to be really hard to get through the front lines. And while Vayne, I think, can definitely do the job, Misfortune's a little bit better. I ended up doing this just to be safe, but I had moved up Misfortune in my games to put her a little bit closer. I think if you get to level 9 with this comp too, you want to get another Dynamo champion to plug in there with her. It really doesn't matter which one. I guess you could technically go with Aurora. I believe she's Dynamo. I'd have to check. I could be wrong on that. I think she's Anima Dynamo. Excuse me. But Misfortune, you know, with that Giant Slayer is going to have a better time of getting through those units. Also, the heal with Hextech's Gunsblade, I think is going to do a lot. Not only is it going to help her in case if you're facing a Zed or a Shaco or one of the other dive, you know, champions that are going to be in this game. There are a few. There are ways to get to the backline for sure. So that'll allow her to kind of heal up with that. If you remember her from set 8 and set 3, this is a very similar Misfortune. It's just that she's more attack damage instead of AP as she has been in some of the other ones in the past. But again, I mean, this is a very fun comp for me. This, you know, it's basically you re-roll to get your Shaco to at least level 2, hopefully to level 3. You can, you know, 3-star Mundo if you would like to just add more beef up front. But beyond that, then you want to get to 8 as quickly as you possibly can and get, you know, your Misfortune, your Zed, your Brahms, your J4s, all that kind of stuff. You'll pick up a Senna and a Vayne along the way. I don't think they're going to be too highly contested. Now, this last comp is one that I struggled with. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. And what I mean by that more is that while I didn't struggle in the sense that, like, I only got to play it once or twice, I think. And I was really trying to make Annie the carry of this comp initially. And I think Annie might be able to be a carry. The problem is that Samira is just so good. And A.M.P is a very interesting comp, and one that I think that people may initially overlook. They may only use 2 A.M.P. I think 4 A.M.P can be very, very strong. Personally, I think that, you know, Yuumi specifically, Samira, and Annie can all do a ton of damage. You add this with strategists as your front line. I was trying to do Bastions and Bruisers and literally anything else that I could think of, and I was like, well, wait, strategists can frontline. Echo and Nico are great frontlines, to be honest with you. This is another one that has Mundo in it because you also go Street Demon in this, which will give you different variations of hexes on the map for you to place your units. And so you'll have to play around that a little bit, which can be kind of annoying to be honest with you. But it's very beneficial. You get to 5 Street Demon instead of 3, and you're getting a lot more health for your units as well as damage. It's a pretty solid kind of comp to throw in there overall, but this is definitely going to be a fast 8. You want to get to 8 as quickly as possible with this comp. You want to get Street Demons early on, whatever you can get with them. It doesn't really matter. You just find whatever 3 Street Demon units you can and start with those, and then just kind of start building, finding whatever amps you can get. You can replace Neferi with Nidalee. They are very interchangeable, and the same can be said about Rengar as your 5th Street Demon. But Rengar does fit well in the sense that he's able to get to the back line. This comp doesn't have a lot of way into the back line. It's mostly going to be focused on the front line, as you'll find out about our 3 carries here in the back in just a minute. And obviously being able to get a Samira early on in the game would be huge for this comp, as she is going to be your main damage source. But Rengar can also hold the items for Samira and do a good job with that as well. So again, frontline, Echo, Mundo are great. Echo can hold your Nico items. Nico can actually soak up a pretty good bit of damage. Crown here, I think, does a good job at giving her that extra shield, to give her, the ability to actually hit on her ability quickly enough to make sure that, she doesn't just get bursted down, especially when she's only 1 star. But, along with that, you want to have health. I like Warmogs personally. You could put another tank item on her. And then Redemption as well, I think, can be pretty solid, to be honest with you. Nothing too crazy there, but I do think Crown and Warmogs work really well. And then I think Redemption, just to keep this front line healthy in general, because it's not the beefiest front line, without a doubt, but you may not need that. And that's why we're going to talk about this backline here. Yeah, I mean, look, the backline's so good, and you can go with Yuumi or Annie as your carry. I saw so many Yuumis that were so freaking strong, guys. I played a couple games of Yuumi as a carry after I saw the damage that she can output. She might be one of the strongest 3-cost units that I've ever seen. Pretty typical for Yuumis, right? Where she is, I mean, the big thing for her, though, is that if she happens to run into a very beefy, even potentially multiple Dragon's Claw type units, or even the Sejuani, who is very, very strong with some of that extra magic resist, right? That's where she's going to kind of run into a bit of a problem, is because she's very bursty. She can do a ton of damage, and she's casting pretty much all the time. But it's single fire, basically. It's a little bit tougher for her to get past that front line. And this is why I've chosen to go with Annie instead. If you can't tell, I love Hextech Gunblade. I think it's one of the best items in the game. I think it has been for a long time. I think being able to heal your front line while you are in the back line, and then if something does get to you, being able to heal that unit itself, and getting attack damage if you need it, whatever kind of champion you need it on, I love it. I think it's great. With Annie as well, she's got 40 mana, and every 4 attacks, or every 4 abilities, she's putting out a Tibbers. You want her to do that as much as possible. I decided that this comp needed, a little bit of heal reduction, a little bit of heal cut in it. So I ended up going with Morello's. You could very easily go with a Gnasher's Tooth here as well, or some other, AP item, to be honest with you, with Annie, because Tibbers is going to be doing a lot. I do think, once Tibbers is out there, you can heal it even with the Hextech Gunblade. I just think that it works really well. This is another comp that I'm going to be really interested in trying, because then once you get to Samira can just delete people, man. She gets in there, she does a pretty good amount of AoE damage, and then once she does her jump out, that's where she can really knock a unit out if you get a good chance with your IE. The problem is that I think it's 20 mana to start, and she has 100. So if you're getting this off twice in a game, or in a round, I think that's great. You have your Shojins, right? You have your Fist here. Why am I again blanking on the item name? Apologies. It's been a long day trying to get all this ready for everybody. But Hand of Justice, that's what's called. Thank you. So Hand of Justice and the Shojin will kind of help her to get, you know, her ability off, her ultimate off, I would say twice. And if she can do that, she is seriously ripping through everybody. The Hand of Justice keeps her alive, you know, while she's in the back line as well. And she can really take over a game without a doubt. So this is another really fun one that I enjoyed personally. You have to play around the Street Demon a little bit, but you have units here that don't necessarily need to be next to each other for you to find success. Preferably, they aren't at all with all the AoE in this game. I just wanted to make it easier for you guys to see, but let me know what you guys think of these 3 comps. There are going to be other ones that are going to be out there that people are going to be trying. There are ones that, you know, you'll be able to find on those different, you know, comp tier lists. I don't know if these ones will end up becoming anything, honestly, but I found them to be fun. These were the things that I, you know, thought were at least decent and worth giving a try. So, like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But that is going to wrap it up for us on this TFT video here at the Game House. So, yeah, with that, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.